What is good, folks? Welcome back to our second Animonsters update. This one's going to be a bit more public than the last. Last one was for holders only. This one's going to be straight into announcements because we're getting some more concrete progress and we're really excited to show you. So I'm here today with my boy Julian.
Hey y'all, how you doing? Excited to talk Animonsters and continue the series of which we promised y'all. As always, we're putting out these updates when we have significant content ready to distribute to y'all and feel like we can really bring something to the table that is unique to each video. And I just want to remind y'all that we really are sticking by that. And I think that is the most healthy way to go about it. I don't necessarily want me and Peach to just hop up on here sometimes and just dabble. We want to come in here and show you the good stuff. I think that's what everybody's waiting for. So I definitely think we have some good stuff today. So
100% because we have got some base cards to show you all. Now, we've been getting more than this, but we want to keep a lot for, marketing and actual reveal of like the set and stuff. So today we've got Woki's full evolution cycle, which is really exciting to share. It demonstrates some of the environmental changes and some of the branching evolutions which will be coming with Forgotten Fates, which is just super exciting. So should we just kick it off with Woki?
yeah, absolutely.
Nice one. So here we have beautiful Woki in pre-emergent Eden. I mean, it's just so nice to really see it
Yeah,
like come to
it's an
life.
awesome card. Yeah,
It's
I mean,
it's
I love the
amazing.
environment, and I think that it's really fun to watch from conceptualization to reality. Gustavo's art come to life. I think Peach did a great job of setting up like some ideation around the environments, and then to see Gustavo's art then become those concepts has been really fun to see. I just love the colors of this. I said this in the
Yeah.
team chat. I love the colors. It's so bright. Um,
100%. It's amazing, and it's I said to Gustavo, verdant paradise, and he's nailed it. So as you guys may know, or may not, Eden is an underground region, and it went through some troubling times, which we'll jump back to when we show one of Woki's future evolutions. But just want to talk about some of the layout first. So we got a nice modernized sort of design around the borders. Obviously, let us know what you guys think. These are still drafts per se. We're pretty close to final, but there's still changes to be made. What are your thoughts on the overall sort of border and stuff? Do you know?
yeah, no, we went through two versions here. I think I like this one a lot more, and as you guys will see as we go through two other card variations here, there is some type of color variation attached to the bordering around the digital card per se. I think it's a lot sleeker. I think with the pixel art, the most important thing is the presentation around pixel art. Doesn't necessarily have to be pixel, and I do believe that we've accomplished that with this type of border. I do love it, and I think there's a lot to digest about this
Mm-hmm.
digital piece, right? We have the Woki, obviously the name, as we had talked about, and as we'll get into, the serialized dash attached to uh, the digital card, which is in this case 1 out of 100. And then also we have a lot of detailing, Peach. I love for you to talk
Yeah.
about that. I think you have a great job of setting up the worldscape to even allow something like this to happen, right? So
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, so we'll start in the top right is the set icon. That set icon isn't necessarily finalized, it's just a placeholder for Forgotten Fates. But then jumping all the way underneath, you see there's a lot of data. Now, this data isn't for any sort of gameplay mechanics, it's all flavorsome and to invite you into more of the world space, and to obviously tell you a little bit more about the creature that you're looking at. So, starting off from left to right, going one and then two down. So we got location, we got Eden. Obviously, this is set in the underground region of Eden in Umbra. This image is before humanity rose to the surface to Crescent City. After that, we got stage. Obviously, Woki is the first stage of the evolution cycle. Temperament is playful. He's a very, playful looking chap. The diet is omnivore. And now these next two ones have been added from previous renditions you may have seen that we didn't have these next two. So we got diet, so you have omnivore, herbivore, carnivore. There's loads more variations. I think there's at least like 12 or so. And I think that's a great insight for people into the creature's diet and what it can be eating on its daily basis. And then obviously, if you see a temperament of aggressive and a diet of carnivore, which we might see later, you know to stay away. And then next up, we've got sexes. So you've got like male, female, hermaphrodite, and there's so many other sexes for animals. Honestly, look it up. You'll see a breakdown or sort of a legend when we release it. But there is so many crazy things, especially with like seahorses, how seahorses hold the babies they get pregnant rather than females. It's crazy, but I think that's a nice little insight. And then of course we've got average lifespan, 8+ years. That's because Woki usually evolves after 8. You'll see later that Hungy is a higher lifespan, and that's obviously just following it on. Average height, 2'1", and then average weight, 23 pounds. So a lot of information, honestly, crammed as much as we could in there, and I think it looks really clean. Sorry, the export isn't the best currently, so the data might look a bit skewed for you on the camera, but yeah, just a lot of data and still keeping it very clean and simple.
Yeah, no, I think we did a great job here because before we had all this great data, and I do think it has a place in the world, and it wasn't presenting appropriately. Like it was so much information, but this new format is so perfectly outlined.
Hmm.
I do really enjoy it, and I think that it's great, and it deserves a place because the time spent building out the ability to have data like this does help us in a future sense. And again, we want to use this place as a place that we can talk transparently about where we're thinking about the project and still understand that things are still subject to change. However, all of that to say, these types of details help us really understand where we can take the world space in terms of gamification, future IP, and so I
Exactly.
have a lot of appreciation for it because I mean, if these are things we would eventually have to think about if we were ever going to make a game, if we were ever to even make a TCG, the powers, the abilities, that in this case, Wilkie's small, and you know that
Hmm.
changes the way that he might interact in a dynamic in an environment of which a game might exist or something like that. So I do think it's very important, and it's really cool. Um, and I guess, Peach, it could be time to kind of move through and
Yeah,
move
let's do
on
it.
to Hungy.
Yeah, Hungy. So Woki is called Woki because he's a bit of a screecher. Their yawns can be very dangerous, can pierce eardrums and put you on the ground. And Hungy is very hungry quite often and eats a lot, and their roars are very dangerous rather than their yawns. Um, and they've learned to sort of utilize them a bit better. But as you can see, Hungy has the same background. Now, as much as we would have loved to do a unique background for every single Animonster in each set, it would just be, it couldn't be done. Gustavo takes time on his backgrounds and he gets them perfect. So I think it's great that we can have a new background for every evolution cycle. Or in this case, if you have a branching evolution, they will have their own background. So you'll see that in a sec. But yeah, this is just the next stage up. It's got all the same data, obviously changed to equate to the monster. And you see the serial says 2 out of 100. That's just a little mistake. It doesn't, that's serial. It doesn't go up like Woki's number 1, Hungy's number 2. It was just a miscommunication. But yeah, that's the serial.
I think it's important to say that Hungy and Woki and all the feature digital cards that we'll show in the future, whilst they are evolutions, the evolutions are not the rarity. The rarity that will be installed will be this base version that, as you can see, can be from anywhere from 1 through 100 to then having a feature rare, which when we do have it, you will see it, but it is an evolution of the art and the background, which I think is exciting. And Peach has done a great job conceptualizing what that could look like, bringing in the world space, bringing in Animetas even, and then an animated rare, which will be the final tier of rarity and the most rare version of, let's just say, Hungy in this example. So I just want to definitely preface that as we walk through these evolutions and these environments, these are the base versions of these Animonsters in their environment, and they will evolve with their own kind of relative rarity in that aspect. So whilst they might have the same background, Hungy and Woki, their feature rare and their animated rare will be different. So
Hmm. Exactly. Yeah, and something kind of like funny, which is a bit off topic, but Hungy actually has an older version, which you guys may have seen, some of the first ever sort of Animonster reveals. And me and Gustavo can't decide which you want more. Gustavo much likes the newer version. I much more like the older version. The new one's a bit more goofy, a bit more silly, and the old one's a bit more realistic. But it's really just creative preference and whatever you like. So we want to ask you guys, which one do you prefer, and what features would you change about either of them? I want to change the teeth about the newer one, but some people may not, and it's funny because it brings me back just real quick to what I mentioned to Julian a second ago. My girlfriend really loves plump Pokemon. She loves like Snorlax and the Chonkachu and everything like that. But I much prefer spiky Pokemon. I love all the spiky ones. I love like Luxray and Garchomp and all of those. So it's literally personal preference. But let us know what you guys like more.
yeah, absolutely. We're happy and excited to make you guys part of this process. I think this is where these videos can become fun
Yeah.
and be interesting for everybody. And I definitely want to build this property with y'all. And so when we have opportunities to do that, we absolutely will. We have a lot of strong minds in here. So often there's some very big decisions being made, but we're trying to involve y'all with every step of the way we can, really.
Hmm.
I think this one's a little more fun. Personally, I'm like in the middle completely. As somebody, like I'm more of a cute Pokemon kind of guy, and
Yeah.
that's the best kind of relative thought process I could think about it. But I also do understand like both, and I think the art is great both ways. So I will be relatively different there. But yeah, definitely let us know. And I think this could be a great segue in
Yeah.
Roki.
Croaky.
So
Croaky, here he is. Big boy. Now, this is just lovely. Oh my god, this is seeing my dreams of the world space sort of coming true. I want to quickly talk about the background before we talk about animals. So you can see, keen-eyed viewers may notice that this is the same area, and it's after the emergence. It's post-emergence when Eden has all of its sunlight blocked out, and the environment dies and is reborn, sort of bioluminescent, and in a new light. Nature always prevails. So you'll see that a lot in Forgotten Fates. I think we have 4 Forgotten Evolutions. That's what these are called. Um, and yeah, the Animonsters changed with the environment during that time of great stress. And Croaky was born. Wokies, after the emergence, they evolve into Croakies. And Croakies are, as you can see by the temperament, aggressive, and they are carnivores. They rely on their bellowing croak to make creatures feel very nauseated, even to the point of throwing up, and then they pounce at the first chance and eat so much they will often overeat and they will lay there on the floor for many hours, relying on their toxic skin and pungent smell to repel creatures that may want to ambush them. And I really quickly want to say that this background is also still a work in progress. Gustavo is working on making it a bit more bioluminescent, removing some more of the green flora, and putting some more rocks in. But I mean, it looks amazing already. I absolutely love it.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's great to see the world space evolve. As somebody that is just in the interest of just speaking from collecting, I think it's great to have the ability to say like you own a piece of like time in this digital worldscape, right? Like
Yeah.
because if you look at Woki and Ungi, they're in this really beautiful like just verdant environment, and then just to see how that changes, I think that it's great for two reasons from a brand building perspective. One, obviously, the first reason, it looks fucking cool. Everybody likes shit that looks cool.
Yeah.
And two, I think that there's a process that somebody goes through in seeing these two and saying, um, wow, like how did we get there? Right? Like
Yeah.
how did this environment transform from this verdant, beautiful place to then this? And I think that that sets a great groundwork for building a background lore interest that is really important to us. Obviously, we have Peach, and he has great talent in building lore there. And I think that it's important for the brand as well because in the lore and in developing things that have a little bit more meat on the bone to them, you have people that become more invested in them, right? And I get more
Yeah.
invested, and that's the same thing with anything really. I think like World of Warcraft for me has been a big passion of mine. I like love the game, but I wouldn't have loved the game if I just logged on and it was just no story. There was nothing
Yeah.
attached to it, right? And I think that's the same thing here. I'm a big fan of what this kind of the ideology around it, the transformation. I think that it presents a really cool segue into people wanting to understand more of how this type of change took place, and also for the
Hmm.
people that might not be as keen on lore, which is completely fine, and there's a place for it and everything. Just saying, well, that's fucking cool, right?
Yeah.
And I think that having that dynamic breeds success in both ways. I think in the past we've been very one-dimensional in our approach. It's like we're either going one way and or we're going no way. The approach we're trying to take with Animonsters is very much making a vertical for every type of collector. Whether you're a collector who wants to collect and be involved with the lore and be involved with the worldscape while you're collecting, or if you want to collect the rare stuff just because it looks cool, there's a place for you in every capacity in this universe, and that's what we're really going to set out to to demonstrate once we
Yeah.
begin marketing the project, right? Um,
Hmm.
so I have a lot of love for this. I think it looks super cool. I mean, it's just again, I think it's exciting for everyone watching that's and for us and the team to just see this kind of world come to
Yeah.
life. Because I can respect how much work it takes for Gustavo to develop these environments. I mean, look at
Hmm.
them.
Yeah.
Like we're it's insane, and so the possibilities of the world space I think are really being shown,
Yeah.
and I think that's great for the IP. So
100%. Like visual storytelling like this creates a lot of questions, and for a lot of people, those questions need answers. It gets them to dive into the project and join everyone in, loving animators, loving Animonsters, and, having some fun building a community, once again. So, very, very excited for the future um, of Animonsters.
yeah, absolutely. And y'all, if you have any questions or things that you want us to tell, and let us know. I think that we're completely open to open conversation. And I've seen some of y'all say like, hey, when are we getting another update? And I promise you guys, when we're really on the track to provide a lot more updates, not to make any promises, but we're really kind of finding some cadence here, right, Peach? So
Yeah.
we had some time where we were still kind of figuring out some foundational elements to begin really developing the art, but we are kind of in go mode right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to see what that develops into. And I think it'll be a really great process to walk through as a community together. And I just ask for your guys' understanding that we'll come to y'all with these videos when we feel there's some substantial things to discuss. And I think today we did that. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited to see what y'all think. I'm excited to see the feedback. Let us know, like, even not outside of the Hungy thing, would love to know what your thoughts are about it. Like, what your thoughts are about the car design? What do you think about the details? In the next one, I believe we will be able to demonstrate the rarity of a single evolution and how that will evolve for a
Hmm.
collector, right? Well, I
Yeah.
think we'll do it doing that with Woki. So, and next time we'll talk through a little bit what the base version of Oki, as you already see here, and then the feature rare, and then
Hmm.
the animated rare. And I think that's exciting as well because especially for me as a collector of things that are not only exclusive but serialized, which has never been introduced in this type of world space. So I'm super excited. I think it's going to be fun to walk through.
Yeah, exactly. And in those feature rares, you get to include a lot more exciting things, a lot more Animonsters, and even Animator faction appearances. So it's very exciting. And then the Animator rare will see that all come to life. Can't wait to show you guys. Oh my god, it's going to be amazing.
Absolutely. Well, I think that'll do it then.
Sounds good.
Appreciate y'all.
Right, folks, thank you very much. We will catch you in the next one. Stay hyped for Animonsters because we got a lot more coming your way. Peace out.
Thanks, y'all.